Jeffrey, what are you wearing?
I'm a meet tonight.
You could have just changed that for class. Sounds good. All right. Well, good morning, class. How are we doing today?
Fantastic.
Bad.
We'll talk about that later, Tim. I'm sorry. Today we're gonna be talking about the Dutch. What do you guys know about the Dutch?
Oh, they're an oven.
I thought it was like a braid.
They had like religious tolerance but still hated Jewish people?
No. Pretty close. That was good, Tim. Favorite student. I mean, good student.
I didn't
So.
do anything.
Oh, okay, good. So today, the Dutch were really like a colony, and they were colonists from Europe. In 1609, they settled here in New Amsterdam, which is present-day New York.
Why are the Dutch so important?
Well, the Dutch had a significant impact on America. Today, you guys, have you guys ever been to the Hudson River? Anyone of y'all?
Nope.
No. Well, the Hudson River was named after this man named Henry Hudson. He was one of the founders of New Amsterdam.
Oh yeah, he was sent by the Dutch East India Company to find a passage to Asia.
Yeah, but on his way to look for Asia, he actually ended in New Amsterdam, which is, like I said before, present-day New York. Dutch were actually one of the first colonies to embellish the idea of what is today liberty. So they had really good views on liberty. They prided themselves on their ideas of liberty. They were religiously tolerant, and they believed in the ideas of freedom of speech. Well, freedom of press. Both the same thing, I guess. And now, people would come here to find refuge from persecution because of their religious beliefs, like Calvinists or Puritans and other types of religious groups would come here. Now, after hearing all these great American ideas, which kind of like embellished the idea of America, I guess, what do you guys think their government was?
A democracy?
Democracy?
No. So, actually, they were kind of like a military outpost controlled by the Dutch West India Company. There was a governor and people who were appointed by the Dutch West India Company. There was no elected assembly nor town council, which was kind of like the basic unit of government. The governor and the people elected were elected by the Dutch West India Company, and the citizens virtually had no say in how the government was run.
So basically, if they had no government, how are they such a thriving colony?
Well, even though they didn't have a strong government, a thriving government isn't the only thing that's important about a colony. What's also important can be their economy. With really good economies, with factors such as slaves and trading, they ended up as a really good colony because of the money they made.
Isn't slavery a bad thing though?
You're basically my slave. You do my homework every night.
Huh?
Nothing.
Okay. Anyways, slavery is bad. However, it's good for the economy because of the free labor. Also in the New Netherlands, some slaves received a thing called half freedom, which was never seen in any, well, no, I wouldn't say never, but wasn't really seen in any other colonies other than New Netherlands. They would pay an annual fee to their company and when their work was needed, and they were also given land to support their families.
Where did most of the Dutch settle in this colony?
Well, they mostly settled around military outposts as a source of protection, just so that they were safe from foreign invaders such as the Indians. Now getting back to the economy, the area they settled in was abundant in fur-bearing animals, and Native Americans who were living there were willing to trade fur for their European goods. The Dutch also had control of the Hudson River, which allowed for them to trade a lot more. They came here to trade rather than to conquer, unlike other colonies seen. They also invented the joint stock company, which proved to be a central development in the idea of modern capitalism, a major American idea today.
But then, how do the Dutch, interact with people?
Well, there were a lot of interactions, such as immigrants, because a lot of people came here to seek persecution. They came to get away from persecution. They were attracted because of its religious toleration. The vast variety of immigrants came here, which resulted in a bunch of different languages and cultures around the Netherlands. They were great because it was such they were so centered around trading, so it was a merchant colony, and the lives of these colonists revolved around trade and commerce. There was a wealth disparity that could be seen in the colony, though, but most of the children were still allowed to go to school and get an education.
So how did these people see the individual between the individual and the community?
So the idea of the individual and the community, the one individual or the greater the good. So the Dutch really believed in the individual more than the greater of the good. They allowed for their citizens to keep all the profits they made from trade, and there were minimal taxes due to the smaller government. Alright, any final questions before we finish this Dutch lesson?
I had one. What about their beliefs? Do they like matter to us now?
They do. What we can see is that the Dutch really influence, I wouldn't say really influence, but they did influence current America today. The community revolved around the economy as well as liberty. So the government was very loose on the reins of the market. And their belief in liberty was essential in attracting more people to the New World. And how they influenced today's beliefs in the idea of liberalism. Do you have any more questions before I dismiss class?
Is there going to be an essay on this?
Well, you want to flip a coin?
Yeah.
Essay is heads, tails is no.
Can there be like two tails?
There's the head and the tails. Heads is essay, right?
Yep.
Heads! Alright, class dismissed. Everyone, have a nice day. Make sure you do the reading. Chapters 1 through 5. It should be about 100 pages. Make sure you
I
heard
heard
about
about
it.
this like 9 and water birds.